Again, Risen Path Consulting is my business. Feel free to check out my website. You can also find me on LinkedIn if you'd like to connect. So what we're going to do is fairly simple. Discover maybe some new ways, new ideas to onboard new employees when they're working remotely or in a different location, even if they're just working down the street and working from home. There's certain things we can do to improve the experience. And then identify the potential blind spots along the way. So we know Brian is an expert in blind spots, and there's blind spots in just about any topic. And we have identified some that could be through onboarding as well that you might experience. All right, moving on to idea number 3. And this is recognition and appreciation. And there is a difference. So we're going to talk a little bit about the difference, but it's so important that people are not only recognized, but they're also appreciated for their work they're doing. And, you have a new employee starting, and sometimes you don't know what to recognize, because typically recognition is based on results and productivity and all that. So it's important to at least have some recognition, have some appreciation on a regular basis. Employees tend to stick around when they feel valued, when they feel appreciated. Recognition is more about awards, and appreciation is more about genuine, authentic appreciation and a nice thank you. So I'm going to highlight a few of the differences. Recognition is typically fairly structured. It's behavior focused. You're focusing on what they did that you wanted them to do. So whether it's increasing sales or decreasing costs, they did something that is beneficial to the company. It's typically company focused. There's like rules behind it. Comes from the top down, very structured, and again, it's more specific to rewards and them doing something results oriented. Appreciation is more of the value focused performance plus their value as an individual. You don't have to appreciate results, but you can appreciate somebody's style or dependability or timeliness, that type of thing. It's more individual focused. It comes from all directions. People love to be appreciated from their leaders, managers, as well as their peers and coworkers. It's very specific and very individualized. So that's a little bit about the difference between recognition and appreciation. So when it comes to a new employee, it's really appreciating what they bring to the table. Maybe you haven't seen the results yet, but you appreciate what they're doing. I really appreciate your drive on this project, or I really appreciate what you're doing to get to know everybody and focusing on your meet and greets. So just those little things, that is more like the value as an individual, their style that they bring, the characteristics that they bring, that type of thing. So that's a little bit about the difference. And then this is a little sneak peek. Let's talk about blind spots first. Any blind spots, Brian, around recognition and appreciation?
Yeah, before we sneak peek, blind spots here. I mean, what's the difference between the two? I mean, that's the big blind spot. So, of course, I didn't know what it was before we started planning this call. So, Erin has helped me a lot with understanding what the difference is between recognition and appreciation. So, that's I'm sure that's a problem for lots of managers that they think thank you is good enough, and obviously it's not always the right thing for the right people.
Yes, that is so true. Just because somebody receives a reward for doing a good job, it doesn't directly mean that they feel appreciated. And there's a difference between feeling appreciated and valued, and in a genuine and authentic way. So there's danger in making the assumption that saying thank you applies to everyone. Right. So speaking of this, we have our next workshop scheduled specific to recognition and appreciation. We're going to dive deeper into the difference and what it means. And there's actually appreciation languages out there. So if you're familiar with the book, The 5 Love Languages, the same author partnered with an industrial organizational psychologist and discovered that those languages are also in the workplace when it comes to appreciation. So we mentioned thank you, that's words of affirmation. And a lot of times leaders assume, well, I say thank you all the time, but they still don't think I appreciate them. Well, that's because you're only hitting 48% of the population, because everyone else has a different appreciation language. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So save the date for sure for Wednesday, July 29th at 2 o'clock, so we can learn a little bit more about the difference between those two and talk about the appreciation languages.